Welcome back. Now that we have some experience with our level blueprint for the basic map, it's time to create a blueprint class. Now, as we've learned, the level blueprint is tied to the specific level that we're in. So even though we're printing delta seconds every frame in basic map, if we go to another map, none of this functionality will be executed because it's tied to basic map. So we can close the basic map level blueprint, and we can create a blueprint class of our own. I'm going to open the content drawer and go to my content folder and right-click to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this blueprints. We'll keep our blueprints in the blueprints folder. And we're going to create a new blueprint. We can do that by right-clicking. We can right-click to create new assets, and a blueprint class is a type of asset. As soon as we click blueprint class, we now have a pop-up that's asking us to pick a parent class, as there are different types of blueprints, and each of these different types have their own sets of capabilities. Now, from among the list that we get here, the most basic type of parent class that we can choose is the actor class. This means that we'll be creating a new blueprint class based on the actor class, and that blueprint class will inherit functionality that the actor class contains. So let's click on Actor to create our first blueprint class, and when naming these blueprints, we often prefix the name with BP. BP is short for blueprint. Now I'm going to name this blueprint BP_drone, as I'd like this blueprint class to have my drone mesh. So I'm going to double-click BP drone to open it up, and here is what the blueprint editor looks like for an actor. Notice it has its own viewport. It also has another pair of tabs here, the construction script, which we'll talk about soon, and the event graph, which looks a lot like the event graph for the level blueprint. Notice there are 3 nodes here. They're grayed out as we're not using them. We have begin play, we have actor begin overlap, and event tick. Now we know how to print a string to our screen using the print string node, and I'd like to do that from begin play for our new BP drone blueprint. I'm going to right-click, type print string, and get the print string node. And I'm going to simply hard code a value for inString, and that string value is going to be BP drone begin play. And I'm going to hook that up to begin play for our BP drone blueprint. Now I'd like to undock my tab for this blueprint editor, so I'm going to click and drag it, and I'm going to dock it right here next to the basic map, and that way I can switch back and forth between the BP drone blueprint and the basic map. Now we know that begin play is executed at the beginning of the game, right? But the thing is, we're working now in a blueprint class and not the level blueprint. So if we go back and press play, we're not going to see that new message that says BP drone begin play. So why is that? Why aren't we getting that message? Well, the BP drone blueprint is just a set of characteristics for a BP drone object. We never actually created a BP drone object. We just created the blueprint itself. Think of it like the blueprint for a house. A blueprint for a house in real life is a paper document that outlines how to build the house. It's not the actual house itself. You don't have one of those until you go about constructing the house. We need to go about constructing an actual instance of this blueprint. Now, doing so is quite simple. We can open our content drawer and take our BP drone blueprint class icon, and we can drag it into the world and release. And as soon as we've done that, we can now look in our outliner and see a BP drone. We have it selected here. And there's a little icon that shows us that there is some kind of object here. If we click on something else, we do away with the gizmo. We don't see that gizmo on our blueprint, but we have that icon to show us that there does indeed exist an object here, and that is an instance of our BP drone blueprint. Now that one of these exists in the world, we can press play, and we do get our BP drone begin play message. By default, it goes away after 2 seconds. And also notice we don't see that little icon either. That icon only exists in our level for our convenience so that we know something's there. But it's invisible in an actual game session. If we start the Pi session, that icon is gone. Now we can click and drag the gizmo as I have my movement mode enabled, and I can change the position of this object, but the object itself doesn't have any visual representation. There's no mesh for it, as that has to be added to our BP drone blueprint. So how do we actually add a mesh to our blueprint? Well, that's going to involve the concept of components, and we'll discuss what those are in the next video. I'll see you soon.